We're live.
We live. We're staying alive.
I'm going to start the, give me a second. I'll tell you when. Blue
Die.
Flyers Nation, welcome. This is the first ever official episode of the Broad Street Hooligans.
Official.
Official, the most official. You are a blue person silhouette on my screen.
That is because
That's
I'm
fantastic.
looking at my GPS. Don't text and drive, kids.
Don't text and drive. So welcome, world. I'm sure we have 4 million viewers right now.
4 million and one.
I'm looking in the bottom right corner. It says 4 million and two. So
2.5, I think.
we're popular already.
Always.
So welcome to the Broad Street Hooligans Radio first ever show. This is a Flyers hockey podcast, and we are the brothers of Flyerly Love.
Yes.
As I like to
Philadelphia
call
Brotherhood.
us. That's right, baby. We in there. So I guess Austin, you are currently in a car. That's what that sound is.
Yeah, I'm driving. That's my
And
blinker for those who.
You are driving.
That just shows that dedication, though.
That's it. First episode, you were sick.
Sick.
Actually, I didn't tell you this, but I recorded an intro episode.
Oh, cool.
Which was just the layout of the podcast, and
as
that's
you
when
can
you
see,
were, when you were in Mexico.
Yeah, that's probably how I got sick.
Actually, it probably is. I told you, stay away from the water, man.
I was playing some ice hockey in Mexico City.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then this is our first official episode, and now you're driving. So we're off to a very good start.
So
all things considered.
Maybe I could try and go for that, like every means of transportation. Maybe next week we could do a boat and then a plane.
I'm down with that.
And then absolutely. I'm thinking maybe even a bald eagle.
Bald eagle?
Yeah.
I like it a lot. It reminds me of Lord of the Rings, the scene where they're all flying on eagles.
I've never watched
I'll be honest, I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan, but that's one of the only scenes that I remember. And they're all flying on eagles. And I would love to do a voiceover for that. So where they're all just like freaking, like, we're on eagles, bro.
I think that's the kind of like that right there.
What we need to do.
We need more of that in the Flyers. You know what I mean?
We need more.
We need Gandalf.
I want to see Oscar Lindblom flying an eagle. What I want to see.
With a nice pair of Bauer skates on. A fresh pair of Vapors.
This is going to be a disaster. This whole thing. I don't know what we're thinking. But yeah, so I'm Paul. This is Austin.
What's up?
We're brothers. We've been brothers ever since Austin was born.
A whole whopping 24 years.
That was October. You're October 5th, 1994? 95.
Yes.
94. 94. You're 5 years after me.
94, I came sliding out the door.
Oh my gosh. Yep. This is welcome. This is a disaster cast.
Yep.
So I guess we're going to start off with, we'll just do like a little bio about ourselves before we talk about Flyer stuff.
Proceed. It's always good. Get the people to know, you know?
So I'm Paul. I am obviously a diehard Flyers fan. How old am I? I'm 29. I just turned 29 like 10 days ago. I just bought my first big boy car. This is...
What do you mean? You drove a 2000 Dodge Neon before?
Dude, so to run through my list of cars that have all just been destroyed, I had a 97 Camaro. That was my first car. That thing, that owes me nothing, though. I paid like $3,000 for this thing.
Towards the end of that when you first got that car, it was bleach white. By the end of it, it was like a tint green color.
It was...
In a way.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool the way the car transitioned. I didn't know Chevy did that.
It was awesome, man. And then next up, I went through a slew of borrowing my parents' cars.
Yeah, the red truck, green truck.
Red truck, which I crashed. Green truck, which you crashed.
Yeah. We did pretty good. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, and then I drove the Sable, which you're actually driving right now.
Yeah,
I drove that for a while.
I just put brand new tires on it, you know.
And then I got the 2001 Plymouth Neon. Yes, Plymouth, not Dodge,
Plymouth.
Plymouth.
I think that's like the
Um,
step.
that was like that. That was before Dodge bought Plymouth,
Yeah. So, well, yeah.
and there were I don't know, but so then the Plymouth finally the other night just blew up. So I went out and bought myself a new car. Well, it's not a new car. I bought a used car, but it has working air conditioning, which is the first time I can say that ever
It's got
since
four
ever.
wheels, a steering wheel, and his clutch isn't about to go.
That's it, man. And that's all I needed for a car. But it's wonderful. I love it. I'm married. Sorry, single
Unfortunately,
ladies. I'm a
unfortunately,
married man as of September 1st, 2017.
he
I have the
became
most
the official half wallet.
Yeah, half wallet is what they call me. I have a beautiful golden retriever
Oh,
right there.
adorable. Pretty dumb though.
You can see him. Look at him. Oh
We
my
might have to.
gosh.
Hey, we might have to get him in on a cast.
He's in right now. If you would
I
open
can't.
up the app, you could see him.
All right, hold
He's
on.
sleeping.
Listen,
But
I'm on the back
actually,
roads
we
here.
should just probably feature him.
Yeah, he's a little better looking than both of us.
Yeah, for real, for real. Oh, there's a picture of my beautiful wife up there and me on our wedding day. Yeah, and as far as my hockey background goes, I was really good at roller hockey, like really good at roller hockey. I was not that great at ice hockey.
He was
I
atrocious, people.
I wasn't atrocious. I was like I was I don't even know who if like relative to NHL, I was probably like
I'd put you right in there with Zach Ronaldo.
no, I wasn't even that effective. He could at
Oh
least
my
get under
gosh,
people's skin. I was more just
a
like
Sean Avery.
I was like Jay Beagle. That
Oh,
was
just like can't skate, can't
I
shoot.
can't really skate. I can't shoot. I can't really pass that well. I can like marginally like move around the ice and I could kill penalties.
But you know
But
what
I
they
was
say?
Jay Beagle.
You know what they say?
I
A
missed it.
bad player makes a great coach.
Yeah, so
I
I
think
do
you would have
think that I would
been
make a good coach.
when you and your wife have children. I think that you're going to be a stud
I
hockey
can't
coach.
wait to get my kids on skates out the womb.
Nah, dude, get them
I'm
playing
real pumped.
soccer. Come on.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, we're going to be very biased on this cast as well.
Very
I'm
biased
very biased.
because
So
soccer's not a sport,
soccer's not a sport.
and
It's more of I would say a like a casting. It's kind of like an audition. You know, you're auditioning for a role in a movie as like a dramatic. You know, kind of
yeah,
like a.
I
like the
agree.
flop. I like the.
Yeah, I'm into that. I'm into that description.
Yeah, so
Um,
if you're a little soft and you get a little butthurt over stuff, this is not going to be the cast for you.
yeah, sorry about it. Um,
Uh,
we're also each week we will be demoing beers
yeah,
for you guys.
we do love beer.
Obviously, since Austin is driving, he has a 6 pack and he's going to test out
Absolutely.
Victory Golden Monkey because it's very low in alcohol content.
I'm gonna test 3 of them at the
Yes,
same time.
that's TJ Oshie. You're going to one up TJ Oshie.
Yeah,
And you're going to drink 3 beers at one time and they're going to be Golden Monkeys.
Golden Monkeys.
I love
Absolutely.
it. I love it.
Who's TJ Oshie? Is that he plays for the Cavaliers, right?
TJ Oshie plays for the Pelicans
Oh,
of the National
okay.
Basketball Association.
Okay. He's a good
Yes.
player. I heard he's got a
Yeah,
great.
it's an awesome league where there's a lot of parity and the talent is spread out well throughout the league, so it's not the same teams in the finals every year.
Oh wait, so what do you mean? They just don't have one player that can drop 50 points a game?
Right. Whereas like in the NHL, you have the same teams that make the finals every like for 4 years in a row. The
And like
NBA is completely
one
different.
player scores like 35, 40 goals in one playoff series.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
So Austin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's start off with I ruined my brother's life as soon as I was born.
It's true.
I came right out and I just said, listen, this is my world.
The squeaky wheel gets greased, is what my parents have told me.
Always gets greased.
Born.
Yeah. No, a little bit about me. I'm currently I just moved to Williamsburg, Virginia, if you're into history, colonial stuff.
The Burgh.
The Burgh, yep. As a
Burgh.
family tradition, we've gone down there every year for the last, 15 years about?
I don't know, dude. It's been a long time.
Maybe about 12 years we've been going. Took a couple breaks, but, because one person had to be selfish and get married. But I just moved down there for a job. I'm working for the state. I have a girlfriend there. We're living in her Jules' house.
Oh,
We have a dog and 2 cats. Love them to death.
that's so cute.
Oh, it's adorable. Other
That's
than that,
amazing.
my hockey background, I've played for about 12 years. Haven't touched the ice in probably 5 years. Last time I touched it was at my alumni game for varsity hockey. Um,
You
played
were
for
Wayne. You reminded me of Wayne Simmons when you played.
I was yeah I
You
was
were
the
good. You were good for nothing at even strength. Like 5 versus 5, you're like, why are you even
yeah
on the ice?
I was a
But
basic
you
line
you would
second
get thrown
yeah
in front of the net on the power play and just
and
take pucks to the face,
yeah
and that was your game.
I
Um,
absolutely. I mean, I remember even my junior year, we had this famous coach, Coach Volpio, and his son
oh
was
yeah,
my best friend. You know,
the
he's
famed Clearview Regional High School
oh
ice hockey team. That was
beast
not school affiliated. It was just run
club. It
by
was club
the
affiliated,
club affiliate.
and I wouldn't. That's what I was going to touch on a little bit was because I mean we'll talk about it later in the cast, but in regards to how Flyers fans treat our team
Oh
and how they
gosh.
think they know hockey, I was going to bring it up the fact that like I
You're gonna
believe
do that in the first episode. We're gonna have
no no
no
no
fans.
No. I'm going to talk about how like a majority of like I would say Flyers fans don't know that hockey is based on. You're going to agree with me on this. 1,000% chemistry.
Oh, it's as far as team sports go,
It's the
right?
highest.
So you
You can't.
have,
Yeah.
as far as team sports go, you have baseball, you have
No chemistry.
basketball,
No chemistry.
you have football,
Minor
you
at best.
have hockey, and you have, I mean, there's, oh, but those are the major ones, right? So those are the top four.
Yeah.
Soccer is also a team sport. I would say, in terms of having to have team chemistry, like full on team chemistry with the movement of the game, hockey is the greatest team sport
By far.
because
Absolutely.
soccer, yes, it's a team sport in a sense that you have your entire team is on the field, but what makes hockey more so of a team sport than soccer is the fact that you're moving and changing players while the
At,
game is going on.
at a
And I'm
1,000 mile an hour
sorry
pace.
if you've never done that, like you like would
You won't.
wonder, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, we
Yeah.
flip and take a too many men on the ice penalty. You
Yeah.
try changing players at the speed of the NHL game because I
At what?
couldn't
I
do
mean,
it
the
as
average.
a
Yeah.
bantam ice hockey player. I
And
couldn't do it.
and that
So
and that's my thing when we were playing. I remember I started varsity my freshman year, and I get to the squad, and we have absolute studs on this team, kids who are playing Flyers youth double A
yeah,
hockey, traveling Can-Am tournaments up in Canada. Like, kids are just absolute studs. I think we won 3 games all year, didn't even make the playoffs, for the simple
sounds about
fact
right.
that we lacked coaching, one, and we lacked chemistry,
Yeah,
because we had a bunch of individualized players. I could name them, but I'm not going to. And I saw a huge transition in playing as I got to about my junior year, when the juniors and seniors moved on. We got left with a couple stud juniors who are our big players, and then we had a good farming system from our youth hockey, because we actually had a middle school team as well, and we got a bunch of good players that, like I said, were playing Flyers youth, and ended up winning the championship. I believe it was my senior year, and
yeah.
junior year we lost it by a goal in overtime. But we had Coach Volpio, my best friend's dad. He's been around the game for many years. Incredible guy, incredible coach, just a great person overall. He put a whole different light in us. He kind of reminded me of you're gonna know where I'm going with this. 1980
Mm,
Olympic
mm.
hockey. Good old
Their time is
Herbie
over.
Brooks.
Their time is done. Screw them.
Why'd you want to play college hockey?
What do you mean? Why do I want to play college hockey? Isn't it obvious? For
For
the
the
girls.
for the girls.
For the girls.
I was, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna declare your statement false, and I'm gonna say I'm more like a Michael Ruzioni.
Dude, you were not. Give me a break. Give me a break.
Oh no. No. I'll take a Wayne Simmons. I was good. I was a second line
You were
forward.
Wade Simmons.
I was a second line forward
You were
who I hit.
tall, lanky, and you're black, and
I am black.
you are black. Even though my
Yeah,
brother
although
is,
I
and I'm
came back from
clearly white.
Mexico, and I should be black, but I'm
Yeah.
really pale because it rained the whole time.
Yeah.
But
But
no,
yeah, that's to say, hockey is the greatest team sport because it's an actual team sport.
Amber.
Um, And
we're
yes,
golfers too. So like it's
oh,
individualization is.
yeah, golf
So
sucks.
but
God.
we also I'm done playing it. You know
Actually,
what?
I was hitting balls today and at work because that's what I do at work. I work in retail, aka I hit golf balls all day.
Remember
Um,
when I worked at a golf course?
dude, and I was hitting it pretty good, honestly. I was hitting the driver, and I was doing what I wanted with the ball.
Yeah,
First time in a long
until you
time.
get on the course,
I
and
know
then
that's
we
why
all
I'm
knows what
not
happened.
going to a course. I've not played golf
Um,
in 8 months.
you know what I found out makes me more mad than golf?
What?
Well, there could be two things.
What? Tell me. Uh-oh. Did I lose you? Austin. Hold on. He's just going to be a minute. He is experiencing some technical difficulties. I got to kick him out, and then I got to invite him back in. This is what needs to happen.
Can you hear
There
me?
he is. There he is.
You know, I'm on these back roads in Virginia, so you know how that gets.
All right, so we have a little bit of breaking news here from the Twitter world.
What do we got?
This is interesting more than anything. It's nothing big, but you know how Sam Moran or Samuel Morin,
Oh, RIP ACL.
no one knows how to pronounce his kid's name. He's been in the system for like 2 decades now,
I was gonna say
and
a decent amount of time.
still don't know how to say his last name. But anyway, so from a source, who is it? Mark Antoine Godin, I believe it's how you say his name, on Twitter. Defenseman Sam Warren, who will miss most of next season because of surgery.
On that, he tore his
As you
ACL,
know,
right?
he tore his ACL.
Yep.
Is expected to sign a new 3-year deal with Flyers.
Boom.
I mean, it's interesting only because he's. It's very like a 3-year deal is kind of weird. So I'm wondering. I mean, obviously it's going to be probably league minimum, whatever it is to qualify him, and then it's just weird that they would sign him today. That they wouldn't wait.
To see what? Yeah, I
And
mean
yeah,
it's
just because you would think they would maybe do him with like a 2-year deal just to see what he's got when he comes back, and then maybe
especially with the ACL. I mean, you know,
yeah,
you have people come back from that. I mean, majority. It's weird. Okay, it's weird to see ACL injuries in hockey. One,
yeah,
because they're usually non-contact injuries. You're going to see them in
right,
basketball
yeah,
and
yeah.
football. But I mean, as a hocky player, I think that's something you can come back from. I don't think we have to worry about that
Oh, it
too much.
absolutely is, yeah.
But you know, everyone. I mean, he's a bigger guy too. You know, how tall is he on skates?
Oh my gosh, he's
I
like
don't know the
6'9".
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think he might. I've even
I
heard
think
rumors that he's in the sevens. He's up there.
he might be actually. Yeah, I don't even know.
Because I know he's
He's a
taller
big
than Tyler
friggin' boy.
Myers.
As
Yeah.
though, like, I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's
So we'll see how he comes back from that. But that is a little weird.
Let's see here. I'm intrigued that it's a 3-year deal, and and that it happens on draft day. You know, I don't know. I mean, not that I think that there's anything to that, because I would be very surprised. Yeah, he's 6'7", which means that he's seven.
He's about
No,
seven.
he's
Well,
6'9".
6'9". Yeah.
Maybe about 6'9", 6'10" with skates on. But I'd be very surprised if he was dealt today. I don't know if there's a team that would really take him. unless he's
Not
part
with
of some
that
kind of a
injury.
crazy package. Yeah, because with that injury, you just don't know what you're getting. So I'd be surprised if anyone would take him on. But I mean, it might just be a thing where Hextall is like, you know what, we'll give you 3 years because you're not costing us anything, and we're
Well,
going to be able to
he'll
put
still
you.
be on a rookie
Oh, you know,
contract.
I guess if they figure so this year they sign him to 3 years, we pretty much call this year a wash.
I was gonna say you have a
And
solid.
then
It's almost like a 2-year
like
contract in a
he'll
way.
have like yeah, he'll have like
Yeah.
2 months of recovery time to get his legs back, and then he'll hit the off season for training. And then by that point he'll come back with it. Okay, so that makes sense then. I guess 3 years makes sense.
Because it's essentially an almost a 2-year deal.
That's basically a 2-year contract for him.
Yeah.
Just to be like, hey, show us what you got.
Because if you're
And
giving him that, if you're upfront giving him that 2-year contract, I mean,
right.
a year is going to be washed away from that injury.
Yeah.
And even more because you're not going to come back 100%. Unless you're Steven Stamkos, where you break your fibula and you're back the next season leading league in points.
That was freakish. That was a freak injury.
Yeah, it was. I remember I wasn't watching the game, but I remember he was on my fantasy team actually.
That was
ended up costing me the year.
Gross. That was gross. Yeah, poor you.
You win some, you lose some.
So yeah, today's draft day. The draft will be kicking away in just over 3 hours. I believe it starts around 7:30 tonight. I'm pretty excited for the draft. This is probably the most I've ever done as far as researching and looking into prospects. And really just because, I mean, for this year, for the Flyers, they have 2 first-round picks, so number 14 and number 19, which is really what we're going to focus on. Outside of that, they have picks in every round except the third. This year is an interesting draft, though. And I think that, and Austin, I want you to kind of touch on last year. And just because, I mean, I know that this year I felt like, well, I guess last year, I felt like was an eye-opening year because we saw a lot of positive things, from the lineup with Claude Giroux and Jake Voracek and how they bounced back, and realizing that Wayne Simmons scored 24 goals with a broken body.
Literally a
broken body.
What was it? A torn pelvis, right? I think that's what it was.
Like, yeah. How do you even tell it's like the torn something in the pelvic region that is like basically the muscle becomes
probably a hip flexor of some sorts.
Like that's disgusting. And he played through that for the entire season. And
these guys are freaks, and that goes to basketball player. He pokes his eye and he's out for 3 years.
Yeah. Gosh. LeBron James. So I come to Philly. So there's my pitch. He's probably watching this because we're now at the 5 million viewers.
I'm just like he just signed on. Actually,
he's on. So that's really exciting. So we saw a lot of positive last year. We also saw a lot of negatives from mainly the roster management, player deployment, coaching. It was a really weird year, but we at least got an idea for the roster of kind of what we're missing, where the holes are. We have more definitive, hey, this is kind of what we need in the organization. So give us your hot take on last year.
We suck. Get rid of everyone. Trade. You know what? Package. You know what? I want Giroux and Voracek gone. I want Malkin and Crosby here. I want Coots and Simmons gone for Backstrom and Ovechkin. And that's it. That's it. That's what has to happen.
You're the fan in the upper deck. Shoot.
Yeah, that's my fan. We haven't even crossed the blue line. That's crazy.
You know what? This year they kind of have a point because that's one hole on the roster is that guy who's just going to freaking bury the puck. Who's just going to take the puck and be like, give me the puck. I'm going to shoot it.
Well, I think, weirdly enough, I mean, if we're going to talk about Coots' postseason performance, it was freakish. But I would say Voracek was our guy this year for that. And he came out hot. I mean,
So it's interesting you say that because oh my gosh, I wish I had notes on this.
Yeah, I don't. If I wasn't driving, I'd have all the stats.
I want to say for shot attempts, Konechny I think was first and Voracek was second. Now don't quote me on that.
Watching Konechny play, I could absolutely see that.
But Voracek is an absolute volume shooter. His shot just isn't that good. Like at the end of the day, his shot is not good. And you also have to count all of the times, all of the 4,000 times this year, and going back to the past seasons where he's been sitting on that half wall, waiting at the top of the circle for that puck on the power play, winds up, shoots it wide. like every time he misses the net. And
Carter high and wide.
so he's not even Jeff Carter, because Carter had a flipping phenomenal shot. He just is
His first
like,
shot was unbelievable. Yeah.
I understood
He
what.
has
Yeah.
not. There's not a lot of power behind Voracek, but I think what you do
Yeah.
get with Voracek is that he does open the ice.
He opens up the ice, and he's got fantastic vision.
Vision
He had
yes.
a ridiculous amount, and a lot of his shots that end up on net, they end up as rebounds, because he's good at shot placement when he doesn't miss the net wide, which is a weird thing to say. But yeah, I mean, you're talking, the margin for error is so
Minimal
tiny
by
that,
centimeters.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So you're talking that it's either in a place where the goalie can't make a squared up save on it, or it's missing the net. So you weigh those things, and you're like, okay, I understand that. Okay, Voracek's going to take shots that are going to miss the net.
That's high risk. I mean, you're going
But
to take a high risk shot for a big reward.
But chances are, if it hits the net, someone's going to be able to clean it up. And that's where you even saw Nolan Patrick, once he was able to assert himself on that top power play unit in Simmons' spot. Once they were like, oh, Simmons, you're half of a person right now, we're going to put you on the second power play. Which made sense, because the second power play sucked. So they moved Patrick up.
Did not
perform. Then it was amazing when you see someone who is actually like fully healthy and strong and a big body sitting in front of the net, cleaning up the garbage that, Gostisbehere, Giroux, and Voracek are just hammering from the point. Patrick started scoring some goals, so it made sense.
Yeah, you really saw him flourish towards the end of the season. Yeah. I think people were. I mean, I even went to a couple of games where people were I would hear him talking behind me about Patrick and how he hasn't really done anything. And
yeah.
What's he? 19 years old.
He's 19 years old.
He's 19.
He's a child.
He literally just graduated high school.
He could not drink beer if he wanted to.
I think last season, my take on last season would be the fact that, like you said, there were positive and negatives. It was a little bit of a roller coaster, but that's hockey, man. That's
hockey.
It's
Well, your voice right now sounds like an alien. Oh my gosh.
Like, if any fan base should... Whoa. Technical difficulties. Can you hear me?
Now I can. Yeah, that's better. You don't sound like an alien anymore.
Paulie.
Can you hear me?
I don't want to.
You're driving through the boonies of Virginia.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
Paulie.
Can you hear me? Hello?
I am right now, yeah. Might even be...
All right, hold on. I'm gonna have to kick you out because you're struggling.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Are you good now?
Come on, Paulie.
Oh my gosh. Right. This is 2018, everybody.
Yeah, I'm only on 2 balls.
All right, I'm gonna kick you out. All right. And then I can't hear anything. You sound like a legit alien in my headphones right now. So I'm going to kick you out, and then I'm going to call you back. The struggle, people. The struggle. I have to do some serious editing. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. I'm going to have to do some serious editing later.
Yeah, absolutely.
But hey, man, that's what we do.
That's how we do it.
That's it, bro.
Okay, so before the area 51 came down on my location, my take on last season, I believe you hit it right on the head. There were some positive aspects of the season and some, as well as some negative. I wouldn't say that the negatives outweighed the positives in any way. And I think
agree.
that I think that the negative atmosphere that we saw, I think, is something that we should not be worried about as a fan base or as hockey fans, or that the team should be worried about. Because if you look at it, I mean, one of the largest positive aspects is that we made the playoffs.
This is true.
Okay. We played arguably, probably, I mean, we're going to say probably the top tier team in the league the first round.
Yeah.
And some people may argue that we didn't really compete with them. I would disagree to an extent.
To an extent. I mean, our home ice performance was pretty
was atrocious. That could be to a number of different things, though.
That's true. It's true.
Atmosphere has a lot to do with hockey. If you've ever played the sport, you'd know that. But I think that for the people out there, the fans, the Flyers fans who didn't take away anything from last season and think that last season was a wash and we had no business being on the ice with the Penguins, though I had multiple fans on various forms of social media before the playoffs even started. When we first got paired up against the Pens in the first round, saying that, oh, we're going to get swept. We have no business being on the ice with them. We're going to get crushed. But then those were the same fans that were complaining during Game 5 that we lost.
Yeah.
You can't have it both ways, in my opinion. Like, it's either like if you thought we were going to get swept, then you can't complain that we lost. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a
right.
But for those fans who didn't see anything from our team that they found that beneficial to last year, I agree. I mean, a lot of people are giving Hackstall. I see it most of the fires being put on Hackstall and Giroux.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is like, ridiculous. I can understand the Hackstall stuff to an extent.
Yes.
Because he certainly made some decisions that
were very questionable.
You're just like, why is Konechny off of the top line? And then you realize, because Simmons
is not up to date. He's not up to par.
He's not full on Simmons. So maybe they move connected. But no, like if you're, and again, it begs the question of, okay, Hack, so you realize that Simmons is done. Your bottom six rendered basically useless against the Penguins. Like they're not. So just freaking attack them with the best attack.
With the first two lines. Yeah.
Which is not a recipe for winning the Stanley Cup. It's not. But you probably would have been closer in those games and showed more of a compete if like literally Couturier didn't have to win every single game by himself.
Single-handedly.
After being killed by Radko Gudas.
What did he have? Like, torn meniscus, I believe it was?
He had I think an MCL sprain.
Okay.
It may have been a torn MCL though.
It's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's because to sit there, you got to also remember at the end of the day, Hack came from a collegiate level.
Yeah.
And I think that obviously
this is the latest trend in the NHL right now for some reason.
Literally, and to me it's baffling because the way you're going to coach college kids compared to kids who are now or adults or men who are currently in the NHL is a completely different transition. I think a lot of people are overlooking that because, you know, one way to motivate someone is to light a fire under their ass. You know, that's what Herb Brooks did. Herb Brooks brought in, what's his name? Guy from Minnesota, one of the best players in 1980 collegiate levels, and he brought them in mid Olympic bracket to scare the shit out of his players.
Oh yeah, it was a good move by him.
It was a great move because it lit a fire under their ass and they got their stuff together and ended up winning. But I think it's the way to motivate younger kids compared to men. They're two separate ways, and I think he's got to find that. And I mean,
there's also the money factor, right? So because collegiate kids, like they're not making any money, so they're trying to get to the NHL. Most of them are trying to get to the NHL.
So they play. So they will do anything it takes to get there.
So the coach can say, "Listen, if you're not going to play my way, then you're going to be benched, and your time will be cut." And then the kids will do whatever they have to do to
get back to where they were,
because that's the only thing they have.
Yes,
I'm sorry, but in the NHL, these guys are making millions of dollars. The league minimum is like what is it, like 800 some thousand dollars,
Yeah,
900 some thousand,
I think it was in the
or
eights. Yep.
I don't even know. But still, you're close to $1 million. You're over $500,000 to play in the NHL at a minimum. Most of them are making multi-million dollars per year. So you can't just motivate these guys by, oh, you know what? You're gonna sit in the press box.
That's fine because they're
And
still getting paid.
listen. I for someone like, Sanheim, or when it happened to Konechny, or when it happened to Gossespierre, or the litany of other prospects that this is seemingly going to happen to, like Sanheim and Lindblom in the playoffs. We're like, what the hell are you doing taking these guys out in the playoffs? Now, here's the thing. We don't know as fans, like, we're not behind the scenes, and we don't know what is going on behind closed doors.
Much more
So
goes
if
on. Yes.
Sanheim approaches Hackstall, and I'm not saying this happens, because for me, this wouldn't be the way my mind would work. But if Sanheim is like, listen, I'm not benefiting from, playing 10, 11 minutes a night. So it might be better for me to get a bird's eye view of this. And, especially because it's just, I don't know. Like, I don't know if those things go on. I would highly doubt it. This is like a outlier situation. Like, I would never think that a player would be like, I want to be benched. But could it be just a situation where this young kid is like, listen, I think that if I'm going to learn, then I kind of want to see things develop, and I do want to learn by experience as well, but it may benefit, and that kind of stuff can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
So,
how many younger players do you think come in the NHL that we never hear of because
right.
potentially, one, they get burned out at such a young age,
Yeah.
Or two, don't adapt to the style of big men hockey because it's completely different. It's
And
collegiate
now, again,
to NHL is
again, like, I don't for it. I mean, there's this very, 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 very small part of me that says maybe that's the case for some players. I'd have a hard time believing that for someone in Sanheim's shoes, but I don't know. I don't know, and none
especially
of us
because
know.
at the end of the day, you also have to look at an organization as a business too. It's
That's
not
true.
just it is an agency, it's an organization, but as well it's a business, and at the end of the day, it's about making money, and that's kind of what you have to look at as well. I mean, it's
So I don't know, but so a lot of positives, a lot of negatives. So that brings us to draft night, where we have 2 picks in the first round, and we kind of know, at least organizationally, what we're lacking, right? So, and Hextall has been pretty clear about this in his in any interview he's done recently. So we know that he wants a right-handed shot defenseman, which we do not have really, aside from Gudis. There's no one. There's which I swear, if he starts the season in a Flyers uniform outside of being the 7th defenseman, I'm going to lose my mind. But outside of Gudis, there's really nobody in the system who fits the mold of like right-hand shot defenseman.
You got Ghost Prove. I mean,
this is terrible. Again, I should know. I'd freaking if Philippe Myers is a right-hand shot, but I'm not sure. Let me look that up real quick because he's someone I'm really excited about.
Philippe Myers, absolutely.
Yeah, Philippe Myers, he's a freaking beast, dude. He's 6'5", and he can skate, and he can
but
move
he can
the puck,
shoot. He can absolutely fire the puck.
He can bomb it. He can do a lot of things.
Well, I remember when you first actually texted me about Philippe.
When we went to that prospects game, he does shoot right-handed, so he's a right-handed shot defenseman in our system.
Yeah, you texted me about him, and you said, "Yo, you need to." This was maybe a couple years ago. You texted me, and you said you need to check this guy out, and you want to talk about an absolute monster on the ice.
Oh my gosh, dude, he's a freak.
young.
And that's the thing. So he was an undrafted free agent. We've signed him. He's 21 years old. He is listed on Elite Prospects at 6'5", 209 pounds, and he's a right-handed shot. And for his size, his skating ability is unbelievable, and his hands are unbelievable. So I'm really excited about him. Now, here's the thing, and I want people to kind of hold their horses with him. As much as I would love to see him make the team out of camp, I would be shocked if he did, only because his extent of professional ice hockey experience is 50 games. He's played 50 games of professional hockey. So he played 50 in the regular season, and I don't know if this has his playoff stats up here as well. It doesn't look like it. Oh, playoff games. No, it doesn't. But yeah, so he has 50 regular season games with the Phantoms, and that's it. So do I expect this kid to be able to make the jump to the NHL out of camp? He dominated in the AHL, especially paired with Sanheim, which is a pairing that I really want to see put together. But I just don't
Well, look at
know
the
what.
everyone. I think majority of it needs to be. Everyone needs to hold their horses a little bit. I think too many people want stuff right now. They need it to happen next season, or they're done. Yeah. I think that mentality's got to go out the door.
It absolutely
because you take for instance the Chicago Blackhawks. They took that mentality of, hey, we're going to go out, we're going to pay a boatload of money for about 4 studs, and now look where they're sitting. They make the 2017-2018 playoffs.
Yeah.
They're going to be relatively. I see Patty Kane and JT, Jonathan Taves. I see one of them leaving next year.
Taves, they're going to have a real hard time moving.
Yeah, because at this point he's
become like a high 50, low 60 point player, which is still good, but that's not a first line center. Like that's you need more from.
He's going to be more like a Patrick Sharp, I think. He's going to kind of follow in the footsteps of that.
Yeah, so he's diminishing. Patrick Kane's still a great player.
Unbelievable, but he makes a boatload of money.
But I
think he's at like what, 13 million?
No, they're at I think they're both at 10 million. Okay. Which is a lot. That's a lot. And
for a hockey player, absolutely.
When you consider Brent Seabrook and Duncan Keith are also signed with them, and Brent Seabrook has fallen off the face of the earth.
He's got stone feet.
Yeah. And then let me just look up their cap real quick. Because this is what I want to avoid, and this is what I think Hextall is good at. So you have Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves are both signed for 5 more years at $10.5 million. $10.5 million.
Man, for 2, that's incredible.
Brandon Saad, now he's only 25. He's got 3 more years at $6 million.
But it's still a very mediocre player.
They have Marian Hossa still on the books.
Who?
Oh my gosh, he's basically dead.
I don't even think he's living.
Which they may be able to move his contract though to a team like the Senators or Arizona.
Yeah, who are kind of looking for a little bit of a spark. Yeah,
they need. Well, I mean, they need to get their salary cap to the floor because minimum now is up to $58.8 million, I think. So they have to have salary on the books because they don't pay their players anything. So and then they do have a lot of guys on like entry-level deals and that kind of stuff. But then you also have Brent Seabrook, who is signed for, dude, oh my gosh. Brent Seabrook, who has fallen off a cliff, like had a horrendous season, is signed. Get this. Brent Seabrook is 33 years old. He has 6 more years on his contract.
Oh my God.
At $6.875 million. Like, holy crap. That's an immovable object. He's not. Oh my gosh. And then they have Duncan Keith, who is 34. He is signed for 5 more years, so he will also be 39 at the end of his deal, and he is making $5.5 million per year. And Austin, I believe you have been kicked out again, so I'm going to invite you back while I'm talking about this. So when I look at the Blackhawks, yes, they certainly kind of knew what they were doing as far as homegrown talent goes, where they knew how to, get people who can develop in the system and be a part of their team for the long run. But they paid them for past success, right? So they paid them after they won. They paid all these guys after they won Stanley Cups. And then I don't know if they've won a Stanley Cup since signing all these guys to these insane contracts. So that's the one thing that Hextall needs to be careful of. And that's where I think you can get all these players, you home grow them, and you know what you're doing. But you have to be careful when you're talking about building a team and building a system from within. Eventually, you got to start paying guys. And that's what scares me is when you end up with guys who are, in their late 20s, early 30s, getting into these massive contracts. It's something that really needs to be looked at. And Hextall, I think, has done a pretty good job at this, where he's avoided giving people like the long-term crazy, astronomical money type deals. And largely due to the fact that he hasn't really had the cap space to do it. So this is his first actual, off season where he has cap space. He has draft picks. He has a plethora of prospects. He's got, you name it, in the cupboard, and he's got it. There we go. You're back.
I'm back.
So, dude, did you hear what I said about Duncan Keith?
He's making what's he making?
He's making $5.5 million. Just over $5.5 million.
So he's making less than Duncan Keith.
He's
Brent Seabrook.
Yeah, he makes less than Brent Seabrook.
That's incredible because
and he's 30. Well, he's 34 years old, and he's signed until he's 39, just like Seabrook is. That's crazy, man.
And
so they have.
Yeah.
Let's call that. That's going to be $12 million, a little over $12 million. So that's $32 million, $33 million in cap
between
space.
How many players? Say that again.
Tied up in 4 players. $32 million tied up in 4 players.
And now, if that's basketball,
that's fine. Yeah, because they don't have a hard salary cap like the NHL does.
Yeah.
And they also have Corey Crawford, but he's only at two more years at $6 million. So, but that's what Hextall needs to avoid, and that's where
I think that's the road we're going down, and that brings me to the point of with everyone getting so upset about our playoff performance, our last season performance, or how G isn't the captain for us, or how G doesn't perform
on that, dude.
Because the man who leads the league in points in the 2017-2018 season is now being bashed.
Whose name is not Connor McDavid, the best player in the world.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
But that gives me. I mean, that's just. It's kind of like. I know. I'm not an all Philly fan. I don't like the Eagles. I don't like the Sixers. I don't watch baseball. Whatever. I'm kind of spread out. But what I've noticed from the Philadelphia.
Don't tell them who you like in football.
I won't. Well, yeah, because I can now.
Not until we have like billions of followers and people are still invested into us.
I'm saying trillions.
We're gonna have trillions of followers,
and they're all gonna donate lots of money to us.
Because don't worry though, folks. I am a 2018 Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles football fan. Let's go, baby.
Congrats on your win.
Carson Wentz for president.
You guys deserved every bit of it. No, but what I noticed of the town of brotherly love, everybody wants it now. It was the same way I remember even when the Eagles were struggling, everybody wants it right now. But with hockey, it is a completely different ball game with that.
It's a salary cap. You can't do it.
And it needs to be, Rome was not built in a day. It's a slow progression. And I'm going to say it, unfortunately, everyone might hate me for it, but the Flyers, and you're going to say, oh, we've been in the rebuild for years. Well, we have. We have been in a rebuild.
Well, yeah, we were literally the worst salary cap situation in the history of the NHL.
Yeah. And I believe that started when we started going after people like Pronger, when we had Richards and Carter. We had good years there, but look what happened. Players got old and we imploded.
And here's the thing that people don't understand is like, okay, so like, oh, we need that defenseman. We need that superstar player. We went out and got Chris Pronger. Look what happened. We got to within 2 games of winning a Stanley Cup.
And we crumbled.
No. So that team was like, we were like a bubble playoff team that year. Like you weren't sure, okay, we should be okay, but we might make it, we might not.
We were kind of like the Nashville Predators.
We freaking made the playoffs on the last game of the season
against the Rangers, shootout goal.
Against the Rangers. If Brian Boucher doesn't make one of the ugliest saves I've ever seen and celebrate the worst celebration I've ever seen from a goaltender, we do not even go to the playoffs. So I'm sorry, but Chris Pronger was not what put us over the edge. I'm sorry, but he wasn't.
It was luck.
He certainly helped, but we got really lucky, and and now granted, we played phenomenal hockey through the playoffs. Everything was perfect.
Was that the year that we ended up coming back against the Bruins, right?
Yes, that was the comeback from 0-3, down 0-3 against the Bruins.
0-3, I remember.
Simone Gagne.
The
most clutch player of all time.
Ever.
Maybe it's outside of Danny Briere.
Danny Briere. Great suit commercials. Gotta love it.
The best. But so it just goes like everyone's freaking out. Oh my gosh, you better sign John Tavares. You better go out and trade for Erik Karlsson if he's available.
Oh my
So
gosh.
listen, John Tavares is a great hockey player.
He's a
Okay.
beast.
He is a top 5 center in this league. However, when you think about paying him, he's probably on the open market. If he hits the open market, a team is going to pay him probably $11 million. The Islanders are probably going to pay him $11 million because he's worth so
Yes.
much to their franchise. But if
He
you
is
pay him,
he is their
he is their
franchise.
Oh, Matthew Barzal is pretty damn good.
Matthew Barzal, I had him in my fantasy this year. The guys
Yeah,
and
phenomenal. He's great.
yeah, a beast.
But you can't just go out and pay this guy that much money, because when it comes time, like this is okay. So classic example of why not to do this, right? So you start investing all these millions and millions and millions of dollars into these players. So let's say we do sign John Tavares to $11 million a year, $12 million a year. What it's probably going to take to get him off the market, 11 or 12 million. Okay,
Easy.
at 7 years, he's going to want a 7-year deal. And then, okay, now you have to extend Provorov. You have to extend
Nolan
Konechny.
Patrick.
You have to extend Patrick at some point. And these guys are going to make some money. Like Provorov's going to make some damn good money
because they're going to be top of the league.
And this is the thing, when you start doing that. So Chicago, right?
They're doing it right now.
They lost out on Artemi Panarin, who had absolute stellar season for the Blue Jackets and dominated in the playoffs. And freaking Blackhawks fans have to sit at home and they have to watch this guy go destroy it for another team because the Blackhawks had to trade him.
Yeah.
But like for what? And I think they got what? Brandon Saad. They got Brandon. So the Blackhawks originally had Brandon Saad. They had to take a bargain deal to get rid of Panarin because he wasn't going to re-sign with them because they literally could not fit him under the cap.
And that's because they have $33 million invested into 4 of their players.
Right. So when you start doing that, like you get yourself into tons
it's a very slippery slope.
And you have to be able to bring in players on entry-level deals. And this is why I say, Ron, I love John Tavares, but please don't sign him. If he wants to take a discount and be like, I'll come, have your center depth be, Sean Couturier, me, and Nolan Patrick down the middle and make you an immediate contender for a Stanley Cup. Yeah, I'll do that for what are Drew and Voracek making? 9 million?
8 or 9.
I'll make 9 million. Okay, then maybe I'd be like, all right, maybe I would be like, okay, John, you want 7 years at 9 million? I can do that. But he's not going to do that. No. So,
hey, you know what it is? It's a pretty picture, but it's not realistic.
No, it's not.
And for setting up for our future, because if you haven't looked into the Flyers farming system, our prospect organization, it is by far what I would say the most impressive in all of the National Hockey League.
It is.
And I think we have a lot of young talent coming up. And again, you're talking in 5 years, what you agree, Carter Hart, Morgan Frost, they're all going to be coming up.
And they're going to need
money because Carter Hart is absolutely lighting it up. Like destroying it.
I mean, he's probably the best goalie prospect the world has ever seen.
Ever.
In terms of his numbers and what he's done, I mean, he's done things that no goalies have ever done. Ever.
And even if you look up highlights of Morgan Frost, it is incredible. Oh my gosh. The stuff he does on the ice is it's incredible. And then granted, he's going to have to make that transition into the NHL, but that's very doable for where he's at right now.
And what's cool is he actually his draft, this was his draft plus 1 year. His numbers were basically the same as Claude Giroux's, his progression. So, and put up like virtually the same numbers. So I'm like, Morgan Frost, if you're going to be Claude Giroux 2.0, I'm pretty down with that.
Yeah.
So this brings me to Erik Karlsson, where I've heard trade for Erik Karlsson. For one, you're only getting 1 year out of Erik Karlsson. He's not going to sign an extension. If Ottawa trades him.
How old is he? Is he right?
28. He's 28.
He's 28, right?
So, oh, you sound like an alien again.
Paulie. I hate that.
That's that.
All right.
You need to get on that Wi-Fi, boy.
Dude, I've been driving. Okay, for the people who are actually listening to this, Virginia,
All 4 million of you.
Williamsburg, Virginia, is like 4 hours from back to New Jersey, where my original home is. I've been driving since 11:30. If you guys can do the math, I'll have 2.5 hours to go.
Oh my gosh, dude.
It kind of tells you the traffic that I'm sitting in right now.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
But it's all good. It's all good because we're talking
Eric
about
Carlson,
the good
right?
old Hokie.
Yeah, so Eric Carlson, he's 28. Yes, I know that he had an Achilles tendon injury. I believe it was 5 seasons ago now. And people are like, oh, he's injury prone. You won't want Eric Carlson because he's injury prone. No, dude, a freaking skate cut the back of his leg. Like, it wasn't like he was just skating and his Achilles tendon ruptured. And
I'll tell you what,
like a skate blade dug into his Achilles tendon.
Yeah.
He's not injury prone. He has missed a total of 15 games in the last 5 years. After his Achilles tendon was cut and severed, he played the next 3 seasons every single game. He did not miss a game for 3 seasons. Okay, but
those are probably the same people that like Crystal Tang.
but here's my gripe with Eric Carlson. 1, it's going to cost you. I can't even imagine what the cost is going to be. So if we look at a comparable trade, which I don't really know if there is one, because anytime a defenseman of this caliber has been traded, it's like, normally a 1-for-1 swap. The last one I can think of would be probably PK Subban for Shea Weber. Are you there?
I hate this.
There we go. You're there. So the last time I can remember a defenseman of his caliber being traded was PK Subban for Shea Weber.
Weber and Subban.
Yeah. So
Shea Weber.
So there's no comparable trade for this. So when we look at, okay, what did Mike Richards get? So he brought in a 1st-round pick. We got Braden Shen, who was the best prospect in hockey at that time. And we got Wayne Simmons. So that's what Mike freaking Richards got you coming off of a 66-point season.
And then you went to Carlson.
And so you want Carlson. You're talking, all right, so you're obviously going to have to give up a roster defenseman because that's what they're going to want. So literally they're going to, you pick up the phone. You're Ron Hextall. Hey, Pierre Dorian. This is Ron Hextall. Yeah, I want Eric Carlson. Oh, okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. I'll take Ivan Provorov. You better freaking hang up the phone, Ron. Because then Dorian calls you back. Oh yeah, you still want Carlson, eh? Yeah, it's gonna cost you Shane Gostisbehere. Because that's who they're gonna ask for. So you better be ready to give up either Provorov or Gostisbehere because that's what they're gonna want back. You're blowing up.
Which I am not. I'm looking for the now. I would.
Now I can, yeah.
Okay. I would say no to that because I'm looking for the future. I'm not looking for now. I'm 24 years old. I do not need a Stanley Cup. It's not do or die tomorrow. Right. If I have a Stanley Cup under my belt or not.
Like at the end of the day, like I don't. Yes, I would love for them to win a Stanley Cup next year, and yes, I would love for Eric Carlson to be on this team. But what it's going to cost you to get him is so astronomical.
I mean, could we look at a risk-reward type of thing? You know what I mean? What is the risk-reward on that? It's too high for me.
I get that, but you think, okay, so you trade for Eric Carlson. There's probably a 98% chance that he's not going to sign back here. No. Unless we win even if we won a Stanley Cup with him, which I don't even think with the roster players you'd have to give up because you're probably looking at giving up either one of Ivan Provorov or Shane Gostisbehere. If they don't ask for one of them and they're just like, you know what, we want to go into full-on rebuild mode, maybe they take, both first-round picks. You're probably losing Morgan Frost. You're probably losing Travis Sanheim.
Not happening.
You're probably going to lose another roster player in order to make it happen. And probably more picks. That's what they're going to want. So yeah, maybe okay. If we lose, so all in all, let's say we lose Sanheim off of the roster. Okay, then we're all right. But what if Carlson doesn't re-sign here? I
And then we're
mean,
out.
and
Yeah.
then yeah, so then okay, so maybe you can go after him, but then you're gonna have to sign him to an $11 million deal for 8 years. Like that's what he's gonna want. I'm not gonna want to pay Eric Carlson $11 million a year until he's
And
36 years old.
and if that were the case, let's say Carlson comes here next year, by the gods, meaning we ended up winning a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
But would we want to risk that for another rebuilding phase, because we're gonna be having our older players start to move out if Carlson even did stay with us.
Basically, you shift the age of the core. So now instead of the core, because like I don't even know anymore if I'm like Giroux and Voracek are part of the core. I think this year upcoming, I'm looking more at like
Konechny, Patrick,
like Couturier, Konechny, Patrick, Provorov, and Ghost. That's my core, right? So now Giroux and Voracek and Simmons, if he's still here, those are more like this complementary pieces, and then you add in Sanheim to that.
But we're talking complimentary, as in having Giroux and Voracek on a team as complimentary players.
That's phenomenal. That's what you want.
Is unbelievable.
That's what you want. So, no, I'm not that in favor of going out and getting Eric Carlson. I'm just not. And for those reasons, just because of the future, and everyone's like, oh, well, then you just signed Drew Doughty. Listen to me. Listen to me.
Okay. Man, that's funny. That's
I love the idea of it. And listen, if Drew Doughty is like, oh, you know what? I hate living in Southern California. I hate making all this money. I hate being in beautiful 75-degree weather every freaking day of my life. If he decides that and he's like, you know where I want to go live? I want to go live in the Northeast. After living in Los Angeles for the last 10 years, I want to go move to the Northeast. And be like, oh, well, money talks. You don't think that LA or San Jose is going to pay the crap out of him to stay there?
He will stay West Coast.
Like, he's going to stay out there. He's not coming here. Even if he decides to leave Los Angeles, because he wants a max contract, basically. He wants 8 years from them, making a ridiculous, like a boatload amount of money, which, granted, he's worth it. I mean, he's probably one of the best defensemen in the league.
But is it going to bring – but the big question is it going to – because at the end of the day, we all play for not the kind of players we have on the team, but we look for Stanley. We look for rings. We look for success. And is that going to – it might bring us success, but it may not bring us a Stanley Cup.
But here's the thing. Okay, so, yeah, you're saying, okay, we could just sign Drew Doughty in, next season. Well, then why don't you just flip and do that and not trade for Eric Carlson and give up everything that you've got to get him for 1 year? Why don't you just wait then? Because it's like, yes, having Eric Carlson on your team makes you better, depending upon what you're forced to give up in that trade. If you're going to tell me that having Eric Carlson makes us a contender, but at the same time we have to give up Sanheim, Provorov, or Gostisbehere, maybe, you swap out Sanheim and you throw in Eric Carlson. Yeah, okay. Then I'll say yes. Eric Carlson then makes you a legitimate Stanley Cup contender. You take Provorov off the defense, and you take Gostisbehere off the defense. Yes, you're still damn good, and yes, you're definitely going to make the playoffs. I wouldn't consider you a contender though, because you still don't have goaltending.
Are you any better?
You still don't have goaltending.
Yes.
So, yeah, Eric Carlson took his team to within one overtime goal of the Stanley Cup Finals last season. You know what? Craig Anderson and the Ottawa goalies played their asses off all season. So to me, like, you have to have that as well. And you can't rely on Elliott to stay healthy. You can't rely on Neuvirth to stay healthy. You don't know what's going to happen. So
and Peter Mrazek, I don't even think has eyeballs.
Peter freaking Mrazek, dude. The reason why we don't have a third round pick. I sold him a rangefinder. I told you that, right?
I heard. I did. Yeah.
He's a lot smaller than I thought he was going to be. He's a really
I think a lot of goalies are. Besides Carter Hart, he's a beast.
Oh man. Carter Hart's actually not that tall.
I thought he was.
No. Well, as far as goalies
no. I'm thinking of Stolarz. Sorry.
Stolarz is a freaking. He's like 7'8", basically.
Yeah, I ate lunch with him in Chipotle before.
He's a big dude.
He is a big dude. I had no idea who he was at the time, and I was like talking to him, and I was like, oh wow. This is kind of weird.
All right, so Austin, I don't even know how long we've been doing this. Actually, how long have we been on here? I don't even
Okay.
care. Whatever. We don't have a timeline. Um,
Because I
so
still have another 2.5 hours.
all
So
right. So let's talk a little bit of draft. So we're tonight, 7:30, NHL 2018 NHL entry draft.
boom.
Um, I'm flipping excited for this because this draft, if no one has done research on this draft, this is probably one of the more intriguing drafts that we've had in a long time. 2012, fairly similar, but where there was a clear like top two were going to go. But outside of that, it was like a crapshoot. This year is even more so. There's a lot of interesting prospects though, because this is for the first time I think since I don't know, I forget what the stat is, but the first time in a very very long time there may not be a center taken in the top 5 of the draft.
Which to me is mind blowing.
Right? Because normally your drafts are built around center and defense, and then you add your like scoring wingers are typically like they come later, or your offensive defensemen.
Absolutely.
This draft in particular is chock full of dynamic offensive defensemen who are very raw, talented players who are gonna probably not be able to step into the NHL right away. But I mean, there's a couple exceptions, but outside of Dahlin, obviously, he's going to be a franchise player once he steps foot on the ice as the number 1 overall pick for the Buffalo Sabres.
RIP to his career.
Blessings to them. Blessings to them. No, he's that good that he might be able to change things around.
No, he could.
And with Eichel there,
yeah. We haven't seen much of like he just doesn't have anybody around him. It's tough.
Yeah, and so what they'll get it figured out. They're on the right track here. And then you got Svechnikov, who's probably, I'd say he's 99% locked to go second to the Carolina Hurricanes. So good luck, dude.
Yeah,
good
no,
luck down there because they're
that's
never going to pay you any money.
Come on, man. The best player they have is Jeff Skinner. Let's talk about that.
Dude, he should be a flyer. So I mean, there's all kinds of. I'm like constantly updating Twitter. Skinner's name is all over the place. Actually, let me pull something up right now. Nothing breaking, but his name is being floated around like crazy. So Darren Drager reporting, sounding like the Hurricanes are getting closer to trading forward Jeff Skinner, with 3 teams being involved at this part of the trade discussions. From my understanding, yes, the Philadelphia Flyers are in fact in on Jeff Skinner. From all that I've heard, and which I mean, I'm honestly probably every team is calling. Oh, what's the price? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
and then like that gets you in on.
It's a formality, is what it is.
So I would love Jeff Skinner to, and obviously every trade that I would love to happen depends on the cost. But so we're talking after Svechnikov goes to Carolina. Once you get to number 3, Montreal, that's where things can seriously hit the fan, because for basically the entire season and right up until the draft combine, Philippe Zadina was pegged to go number 3. Like, he was the consensus, you're going 3rd overall because you're the best goal scorer in this draft.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then after that, you had like Brady Tkachuk, you had Noah Dobson, you got Quinn Hughes, you got Oliver Wahlstrom's up there, you got Adam Boquist is up there. There's just a ton of players who are all like in this pool of just, we could go anywhere from pick number 4 to pick number 31, because that's how the first round's going to go. Actually, now that's probably a bit of a stretch. It's probably more like 4 to 12.
Yeah,
and once you get past 12, you get into that murky waters area. That's not to say.
But you could find a needle in a haystack, a diamond in the rough.
This is why this draft is so interesting, is because it's not because this isn't a deep draft, and that's the misconception I think a lot of people have about this draft, is that it's not deep. This draft is actually pretty darn deep through the first 2 rounds. There's not a lot of separation.
Yeah, that's what I was going to try.
And it's very odd. Like, it's a very odd spread, because what's probably going to happen is you're going to see, because like, again, this draft is really full of very dynamic offensive defensemen. So guys who are fantastic with the puck, fantastic skaters.
Yeah.
Gots to spare, like, we can move the puck really, really well, who
For
may
overalls,
slack
yep.
on the defensive end of things.
But that's the way the NHL. I see. To me, it's
It's heading
the
that way
whole
because it's a
and
speed game.
yeah, and the
Yeah.
whole hitting mentality, the whole we got to have enforcers out there fighting. That for those of you hockey fans who still think that's the way hockey is, that era is now done.
I think
if you want to succeed.
I think yes, to a certain extent.
Absolutely. You still need physicality. You still
Because
need.
listen, as much as I hate Tom Wilson, and
Oh my God! You don't get me started on Tom.
I'll get you started on Tom Wilson, boy.
Tom lost Wilson.
Dude, Wilson. So as much as I hate Tom Wilson and the way he plays, because I think that he's a dirty player,
very dirty player.
What he brought to the Capitals, though, because he made some outstanding plays in the Stanley Cup Finals. He was out there imposing his will and forcing players to like play protective,
as well as keep.
When that happens, when he's on the ice, he can open up so much space for other players.
I completely
So that's
agree.
where like a guy like that, who I could see in this draft, who will be available probably at pick 19, if the Flyers decide to go this way, is Sarah Noel, who is a massive player, plays really gritty, really greasy. He can score goals in tight. He reminds me a lot of Tom Wilson in Tom Wilson's draft year.
Well, and Tom, I mean, a
big player who has skill and not the most hockey sense. Like, he's not the smartest player, but I don't know if he's worth a first round pick. Like, I don't think picking up someone like Tom Wilson is worth it in the first round.
I wouldn't say so, because I mean, even if you look when Tom Wilson played, even for the Hartford Whalers, like, he wasn't an absolute stud. He was kind of in the same boat. He wasn't the NHL, when he came into the Capitals farming system, he wasn't looked at as a player that's going to be so impactful like a Backstrom or Ovechkin, obviously, or an Oshie. Yeah. But I think that Wilson does fill his role as the player that he is. I don't think he's anything more than I wouldn't put him as an enforcer in the NHL, just because I think he has more skill than that. Like,
he does.
He's not. I would consider an enforcer Zach Ronaldo, Dan Carcillo, ones who physically cannot do anything. Shelley, Avery, people
freaking Shelley,
who they don't know how to use their feet as well as use their hands. But Tom Wilson does.
He can use his hands. He can.
Yeah, and he can skate. He's kind of quick, but
he just blinds. He's a very immoral hockey player.
I respect physicality. I respect hard hits, but not when they're illegal.
So that's something that I could see the Flyers doing, is going after a guy like that. But this is a really cool draft just because the Flyers are going to really be able to target two of their real organizational needs. So when you think about it, what we desperately need is someone who wants to put the puck in the net. And so this draft in particular is, again, while the dynamic offensive defensemen are there is also a plethora of wingers available in this draft who love to score. So I think it picks 14 and 19, and this was kind of my hot take at the beginning, what I really wanted Hextall to do. I've really just was like, you know what, dude, just stand pat. Like, just hang out and make your picks at 14 and 19, because you have the ability to get someone, like Vitaly Kravtsov is probably my favorite prospect in this pool of prospects, because he had a stellar year in the KHL playing against men. The dude has played professional hockey, and he's 18.
He's adapted to it. Yeah.
So and now the KHL isn't the highest scoring league, but he didn't put up a lot of points, but you don't expect him to as a 17-year-old playing in the KHL. What he absolutely did was progress through the entire year and lit up the playoffs. He set a scoring record for a draft-eligible player under the age of 20, basically.
Under the age of 20 years old, yeah.
So in terms of scoring points, I freaking love this kid.
But that's what you have to look at. And the thing is, you can't. I think a lot of people get this twisted. Like, that we have scouts out there that are specifically trained to our style of play and how we want to play it. And it's great because they're going to be able to look for that. Like, you can't, in my opinion, I've never been a huge fan of stats. I know.
Right.
I was not that Flyers fan when we didn't make the playoffs against the Penguins last game. Our fans were cheering, standings don't mean anything. Standings literally mean everything.
Yeah.
Realistically speaking. But I also don't think that you can look at a stat book and determine the success of a hockey team, in my opinion, or a hockey player for that
I
matter.
agree.
So
I agree.
I think
Especially
by
prospects. Especially
yeah,
prospects.
because they're playing. I mean, you got to understand it's the same thing. I mean, realistically, like this is any sport, in my opinion. Transitioning from a collegiate level to a professional level, it's essentially an all-star
It's
game.
not even close.
It's an all-star game. Yeah,
It's not even close.
You can see who your true competitors are when they make that full transition. Like you find the diamonds in the rough.
Right.
It kind of like Giroux. Giroux came out of no. I mean, realistically speaking, no one knew who Giroux was before.
Bobby Clark messed up his name when he called him at the draft podium.
What was it, Giroux?
He
It was
I don't
Giroux.
even,
I thought.
I think he just literally forgot.
Yeah,
Like he was like, "Wait, who are we drafting?"
Yeah,
And like he forgot his name. And then he turns into a probably like I'm gonna go out and say he's probably the best flyer of all time.
Yeah, but you're gonna get ripped for that.
I'm gonna get ripped for that, but
I'll back you up because
well, listen, I mean Bobby Clark. Gosh, dude, the guy is just unbelievable.
Different eras,
but we were in a different era, different era. And you're also, I mean, Eric Lindros is my favorite flyer of all time.
Oh, R.I.P. Love him,
dude. What? I was
Scott Stevens, you bastard.
Yeah, career
Scott Stevens, Mike Volpio, if you're listening to this, you're a scumbag.
Yeah. But so there's a ton of names though. So what I want to see the Flyers do, okay? Because Hextall has options. So tonight, if he stands pat at 14 and 19, and decides to select 2 players, does not make any trades, does not decide to move up in the draft, I would love to see him grab a scoring winger and one of the defensemen that are going to be available. And people would say, I want 2 scoring wingers, which, okay, like, listen, if you tell me, all right, so I'm looking at my list of favorites. So if you tell me, all right, if you were to tell me that, let's say Joel Farabee who's a name that I absolutely love. If he's there and let's say at 14, okay, pick him. Absolutely. Because if he's there at 14, take him no matter what. If Kravtsov is available and Farabee's available, I don't know. If I'm Hextall, then I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to try and trade for pick 15. Yeah. I take both these guys. But if you get either Farabee or Kravtsov with 14, with the 19th pick, I'd say go for a defenseman. Because yes, there will be scoring wingers available, but everyone's like, oh, we have the deepest defense prospect pool in the world. Yes, we do. As of right now, yes, we do. However, when you think about, okay, Sanheim should be a full-time NHLer next year. Philippe Myers, outside chance of making the Flyers out of camp, will be a call-up when there's an injury. Okay. Once McDonald is off the books, once Gudis is, relegated to the ECHL,
retired, put in a nursing home.
Anywhere.
Yeah, but
anywhere.
I do got to give a shout out to Gudis for my 2014.
Oh my gosh, dude!
Absolute monster.
Because he averaged 12 penalty minutes a game, and for some reason that was positive in fantasy hockey.
It was the best thing in the world. I picked him up out of free agency. For those of you who do not play fantasy, majority of the players average like 2 points a game. I picked up Gudis. He was averaging
nine
at least 9 points a game.
He was your leading scorer.
I still lost it that year to Paulie. Unfortunately,
that's right, baby.
Because I had
some illegal trades as the commissioner.
I knew it. I know. The truth comes out, folks. I had all the stars in the league.
I'm sorry,
and the
last week.
I'm
sorry, not sorry.
You know what? None of my players started that last week, which was a joke.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, so
back to reality.
So I say grab a defenseman because your pool is going to start to get pretty shallow once these guys start coming up.
Yeah.
So I say grab a defenseman. It depends on who's available. If Ty Smith as a defenseman is available at 14, I probably would opt for him. It just depends on who's there because there's, like I said, with this draft class, like you don't know who's going to be available to you at 14 and a lot can happen. Like tell me, like if the Canadians go crazy, right? And let's say they don't draft Philip Zadina or Brady Tkachuk, who are probably the top 2 who would go at number 3.
Absolutely.
If they don't take either of them and they take a jump and say, you know what, we're gonna take a center because we desperately need centers.
No, they got Max Pacioretty. Come on.
I can't. Don't get me started on Mark Bergevin because I'll go on a freaking rant.
Talk about it.
But I know that they're gonna take Jesperi Kotkaniemi because they need a center, and they're gonna be like, you know what, dude, and he's gonna play him in the NHL this season, which is probably a mistake.
And they're gonna run him into the ground.
They're gonna run him into the ground.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh,
that's like all the Flyers fans. Bring up Carter Hart next year. No, thank you.
Listen, you know what?
No.
It depends on his maturity. It depends on his maturity.
He needs to play an entire season with the Phantoms.
Okay. Like, I'm fine with that too. Like, listen, if they don't call him up, I'm okay with it. I'm not saying, but depending on his maturity and because the kid's freaking smart and he's very, very mature and he can handle himself.
But you know what scares me about goalies are the fact that they're crazy.
I know.
I've never met a normal goaltender.
Carter Hart's a freak, and you know what? His thing is. So, do you know what his thing is?
No.
Pre-game. So you know how they go out for pre-game skates and warm-ups, and then they go back to the locker rooms, and then. So his thing is, he is the last person on the ice. The last person to leave the ice
every time.
Every time. So I'm talking players on his team, players on the away team, and referees. He's the last person off the ice. So, I mean, listen, if I was on the opposing team, I would definitely mess with him, and I would just wait. I'd wait.
Absolutely. And I'm sure he's had that before. But thing is,
listen, this is why I'm saying this is because the mental resolve to say I'm gonna be the last player on the ice. So screw you if you think you're gonna do it. Because this clearly it's not an issue because it's not been like, oh, Carter Hart, here he goes. Like he's trying to be the last person on the ice. And maybe we're making too big a deal of this, but I just like to think of him just sitting on the ice in his crease, like with his hands on top of his stick, like Ken Dryden used to stand. Like,
with the lights out.
Like the other goalie is just sitting at the other end of the ice doing the same thing, and he's just like, screw you, dude. Like, I don't care.
The Flyers,
I will stand here until we and then like
Zamboni and everything, just not.
That's what I'm picturing. So, and I love that. And so I think, listen, if this kid is mature enough mentally to handle it, then maybe like I've seen crazier things, you know. But
I'm all for it.
I'm not sitting here arguing for the fact that I want Carter Hart to start the season with the Flyers. I'm not doing that.
Do we think that's going to lead us to a Stanley Cup right away?
No, and exactly. I don't want to ruin him because, oh my gosh,
listen. We know, okay. Because Philadelphia Flyers, we are infamously famous for destroying our goaltenders.
Infamously famous. That's a thing.
It is.
That's a thing.
Destroying them into the ground.
Listen, I know. And so that's like, I'm nervous, but I'm also like, listen, talk to him. Like management, talk to him and be like, hey, kid, what are you thinking? Because that's what I think. I think if I'm a goalie coach, then because goalies are weird and goalies are like freaks of nature.
Very mental. Yes.
Like, tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. Because if I can keep you in a mental state that's like if I'm just picturing myself as Carter Hart, be like, man, I really wish I was starting for the Phantoms this year instead. And like as a competitor, I highly doubt he would think that way. But then they force him into the NHL. That's
going to be a massacre.
Problem. But if he's Carter Hart, and he's like, man, I want to play with the big club. And they go to him and they're like, Carter, what do you want to do? And he's like, I want to play with the big club. They're like, you know what? All right, do it. Like, let's do it. And maybe you're just a backup. Then I'm okay with something like that.
But he gets a taste of it.
I'm okay with something like that.
I am completely scared of. I mean, you got to remember, he's going from the best team in the AHL, who completely dominated, to a mediocre team in the NHL, to a point where if he was our starting goaltender and got absolutely lit up every game, it would absolutely destroy his mental. Because although he may be mentally strong, goaltenders are like
they're voodoo, man. Yeah, they're voodoo. You just don't know.
Then maybe he stops his ice routine, and then everything's just done. Then he becomes a beer sales manager at our local Hops and Grapes.
Yeah, is that like a thing?
I don't know. I mean, it could be a thing if we run him into the ground.
Oh, you said that as if like
it's happened before.
Former Flyers goal.
Yo, Brian Boucher, I could see him working the hops and
Yeah,
grapes.
I saw
Selling me a
Brian
six pack.
Boucher, and he came into my store.
He's a cool guy. He's like a real.
Dude, I get so many flyers in this area because I live.
We both have had a
So
lot of.
yeah, because I live in Voorhees, right near the skate center, or the skate zone. So I actually saw Claude Giroux at Target. And
Worst player ever.
Worst player. Strip the C and trade him.
Gee, by any chance, if you're listening to this,
just kidding, bro.
Literally, we love you.
Love you.
We are on the G train for a long time.
Gosh, you're the
G train.
Oh, I love you. And your 102-point season. So listen, here's my names. Here's my names for this draft. If we stay put, all right. First, I'll give you if Hextall decides to package these picks up and move up in the draft. If Philip Zadina starts to fall, go get him. Go get him. If he gets to pick number 6, you freaking start making phone calls and get him, because he is literally like exactly what we need. That he's a right winger. He's freaking huge. The kid is.
He's a beast on the ice.
He's just over 6 foot, but he's 200 pounds. And he's a right wing, and he just freaking puts the puck in the net. He puts the puck in the net. He puts the puck in the net. So
and that's what we need.
I love it. And he can probably play in the NHL this year. He may have to go back to juniors for one more season, possibly, but he can probably play in the NHL this year. So he's one name. My second name, or if you're going to move up, if a guy starts to slide, is Oliver Wahlstrom. Again, massive player, right-handed right winger, which is pretty rare. You don't see that a lot.
Because they all come from Canada, and they're all lefties.
So I like him a lot. He's 6 foot. He's almost 6'3", 185 pounds. Big guy, big, fast winger who can skate and he has the best shot in this draft. Zadina's probably that's a weird thing to say that he has the best shot. Zadina's the best goal scorer. Zadina can score goals from different areas, whereas Wallstrom's more like pure sniper.
I was going to say,
Wallstrom has the best shot in the draft.
There's a difference between putting yourself in a position to score a goal and then just flat out scoring a goal.
Right.
As weird as that sounds, even if you played hockey, you should know what that means. It's Sidney Crosby just puts himself in the right spot.
He can just get to the right spot.
Alex Ovechkin can purely just pick a spot.
Pure sniper.
Yeah, pure sniper.
So those are two names that I'm like, okay, if he falls out of the top 5, I'm making calls to get up and get him. I'd be shocked. The only reason I could see him falling, so you have Dahlin going 1, you got Svechnikov going 2. If and only if Montreal decides to take Jesperi Kotkaniemi with 3rd overall pick as a center, what you're going to see then, so you're probably going to see 2 things happen. You're going to see both Zadina and Tkachuk start to fall a little bit, because I think what you'll see happen is once you get to pick 4 with the Senators, they may opt to take a defenseman.
Yeah, I believe they will.
Because they're going to lose Carlson.
Yeah, so that's the thing. They're absolutely playing it safe. In the draft.
If they take a defenseman, I think you see a run of defensemen get taken. As soon as the first defenseman gets taken, there's going to be a run of defensemen, because that's like what everyone is coveting in this draft outside of the top 2 guys are the dynamic offensive defensemen. So once one of them goes, I think then the rest of them go. So you may see Brady Tkachuk and Philip Zadina start to fall. If they start to fall, and which would also then make Wallstrom fall, because I don't think a team's going to take Wallstrom over Zadina or Tkachuk.
Yeah, that's very highly unlikely.
So if you see Wallstrom get to pick like 8, 9, 10 to get up there from pick 14, you package that with pick 19, and I think you do it. But it depends on if they start to fall. If that doesn't happen, some names that I would love to. So that out of these guys, if the Flyers walk away with any 2 of them, I will be very, very happy. My first option is Joel Farabee.
Yes. Yep.
I love him and Vitaly Kravtsov. He's one of those weird ones where it's not Stav, it's Sov.
Sov, yeah.
But there's a T before the Sov, so it's like Kravtsov. It's very hard names for me to just freaking USSR. Vitaly Kravtsov. I freaking love this kid. I really want him. So I love Joel Farabee. I love Martin Kaut is another one, or Caught, however you want to say it. He'll probably slide. He was pegged higher. He had a little heart issue. It's non-career threatening, but it scared some teams off. So he may drop. If he's available at 19, I'm taking him. And now I'm not Hextall, so I don't know, but I could see it. But I do see if Kraftstall is available at 14, I believe Hextall will take him because of his he's shown a liking to Russian players, especially guys who are late risers like German Rubtsov and Morgan Frost was a late riser.
Well, the Russians have that adapted style of play where it's aggressive and fast.
Yeah, and so I think he'll take him. But so Farabee, Kravtsov, geez Louise. I'm just gonna start calling him VK.
When he's drafted.
So when he's drafted, we got VK and TK. I love it.
No, we can't do TK. Travis.
No. I know he's VK. Vitalik.
VK. Okay.
So
I thought you said T.
So I got Farabee, I got VK, I like Martin Kaut, I like Grigory Denisenko. Dude, Grigory Denisenko is a freaking. This kid he's not like huge, but he plays huge, right? So he's like 5'11", 170 pounds. He's gonna put size on. He's probably 2 years away. But this kid is a wrecking ball on the ice. He is unbelievable to watch him play.
So he's like a Travis Konechny on steroids.
He kind of is. He is a lot like Konechny. He is. Niels Lundqvist I like a lot. He is a defenseman. He played in the SHL.
Man, Henrik Lundqvist is so good. I want
No, not Lundqvist. Lundqvist.
Nah, man, Lundqvist.
So we got Farabee, we got VK, we got Martin Kaut, we got Niels Lundqvist I like. I love Ty Smith. When you think Ty Smith, think Shane Gostisbehere. Like that's probably and which maybe not quite as polished as Ghost is right now. But he's pretty raw.
Diamond in the rough, you never know.
This kid can handle the puck in the offensive zone like oh my gosh, he's good.
And the thing is, when you're looking at this draft, as long as you see a solid foundation in majority of these players, we can adapt them to the NHL lifestyle.
Right.
And I actually think it's easier. I think some of the players who not have struggled in collegiate level or even under NHL level, such as like AHL and all that stuff, I think they can actually sometimes shine better than the people who shine in the lower the under level of the NHL.
Absolutely. It depends on their game. I mean, when you look at and there's one common link to all these guys. A couple other names. I like Jonathan Berggren a lot. I'm not going to go deep into these guys. So we don't have a lot of time. Keandre Miller is probably the most intriguing defenseman in this draft because he used to play forward. He switched Brent Burns, Dustin. He's actually been likened to Dustin Byfuglien a lot. Bustin' Dufflin, dude. So Keandre Miller played for the USA. He came out of the NTDP program. He's 6'3", 200 pounds, plays defense, offensively dynamic. He's defensively sound. I love this kid. And if he's there at 19, I want him. Probably wouldn't take him at 14. I'd wait to 19 and reach on him. That's where I would take him. So those are my guys. And if you want to take a reach on a defenseman, I would say Matthias Samuelsson is probably my pick. Shell Samuelson's kid. I like his game. He's just massive. He's a massive human being. Also out of the NTDB program, 6'4", 218 pounds. Just huge. Like shut down. I'm gonna shut your ass down. And when you're talking about, Sam Morin might not be back until next, spring if he's even going to be with the club. So when you talk about adding another defensive prospect to the system in that ilk of like, I'm going to put your ass on the ice and you're going to clear the front of the net, Matthias Samuelsson's that guy. But he can move the puck. He's got a great first pass. He skates well for his size. He ticks a lot of the boxes. Now, for all of these guys, I'm saying they're smart hockey players. They all have good hockey IQ, hockey sense. It's all there. And that's what I look for in a prospect because unless you want freaking Nail Yakupov, who, listen, all the skill in the world, all the skill and talent in the world, and talent and skill is obviously a huge thing. unbelievably talented kid. He can't crack it in the NHL for a full season because he doesn't have that. He doesn't have the head for it. He doesn't have the hockey sense or the IQ.
His hockey IQ is about
Yeah, it just wasn't there. And so, and that now, granted, that draft was like, it
that was a
wasn't
little
that
bizarre.
deep. It was a really weird. That draft was a
Yeah.
disaster for most teams, especially the first round. If you look back at that draft, it was pretty awful. But if you don't want a player like that, then don't draft people who don't have the hockey sense in the first round because skill is only you're gonna hit a ceiling quickly with your skill.
And that's where it comes from with these scouts. You hope they would look past that, and I think the majority of them do.
Right.
And I do think there are some naive scouts out there in every organization, not just the Flyers. That's every organization for that.
But even the Flyers, like they're not prone to picking guys who are not smart.
No.
So, and that's what I love Hextall and his scouts is that they seem to pick players who progress. And that's another thing I look for is progression. Like Vitaly Kravtsov, the kid, every step of the way in his development has gotten better and better and better. So, and that's why I love him. That's why he's my pick at 14. But all right, so let's move on to some possible trade scenarios. So a lot of stuff has been thrown around about Wayne Simmons. Not to say that, Hextall has been like shopping Wayne Simmons, but I mean, basically he's been shopping Wayne Simmons. And I guess a lot of teams would be calling Wayne Simmons he's the guy that you want on your hockey team. Like that's who Wayne Simmons is. Despite having a down year and, being injured and blah, blah, blah.
Let's not forget the year 2 years ago though.
Right. But that's the thing is that he's a guy you want in the locker room. He's a hockey guy. Yeah. And you know what the NHL is filled with? The NHL is filled with front office hockey guys. So Wayne Simmons is a hockey guy. NHL front offices are full of hockey guys. The two blend together very, very well. So when you're talking about getting a return for Wayne Simmons, even after a down year, and this is the thing, like I woke up today because I've been saying all year, trade Wayne Simmons, trade Wayne Simmons, trade Wayne Simmons. And now it's a reality. And I'm like, I really want to trade Wayne Simmons?
Yeah, because it's
Wayne Simmons.
It's Big Black.
Train.
It's Big Black.
Big Black. Big Black Wayne Train. So
because he's an asset.
It's so tough. But
because realistically, who are you gonna get?
But with the prospects, I think because here's my thing. It depends on the return. So, and it depends on what you're going after. But so Hextall has been adamant about adding a goal scorer or adding a right-handed shot defenseman. He also wants to improve the penalty kill. So I look at a team like Buffalo. They're shopping Ryan O'Reilly. I like Ryan O'Reilly a lot.
Yeah.
Their asking price is literally what Bob McKenzie reported that the asking price is that they want what the Flyers got for Mike Richards. So they want, a young roster player. They want a high-end prospect, and they want a first-round pick. Now, obviously, what they're going to get for him, or what they want for him and what they are going to get are two different things.
Two different things, yes, sir.
So, Lincoln just totally smacked me with his tail.
He's good at doing that. Linky boy.
He's the best, dude. So I don't know. I would not give up that much for Ryan O'Reilly. I like his game a lot. I don't know though. Jeff Skinner is also a name that's been talked about. Here's the thing though, is that I don't know if these are teams that are going to want Wayne Simmons. Now, if I'm Buffalo and I'm thinking, all right, I'm losing Ryan O'Reilly, I'm going to want a roster player in return. Wayne Simmons, he's only got 1 year left on his deal, but does he make a lot of sense to put in a locker room with my young leader in Jack Eichel? I think so. Does he make a lot of sense for my team if I'm going to be bringing in Rasmus Dahlin? I think so. I think Simmons is a perfect guy for that kind of locker room. The issue is that, he does have a 12-team no-trade list, and he's only got 1 year left, and then he hits free agency. So you're not sure if he's going to be able to, if you're going to be able to retain him. So I don't know. But for me, Simmons, I think if you can get a haul for him, as much as I would hate to see him go. I think, yeah, like you do it. Like if it can get you a Ryan O'Reilly, a Jeff Skinner, or even, my gosh, if you can send Calgary Wayne Simmons a first round pick and like a high end prospect and get Dougie Hamilton back,
Ooh,
I'm like,
ooh,
hell yeah.
maybe even Johnny Hockey.
I'm like, oh, that ain't happening. Um, but so I'm thinking, yeah, like you might as well as go for it.
Because the way I see the NHL now, I don't think as much as I love the Wayne train and he's done so much for us. He see what you get with Simmons is not you're not going to get assists, you're not going to get goals, you get a presence, is what that is.
Yeah.
It's you're getting much more than just.
Well, and the thing about like, yeah, he's gonna be coming back. Uh-oh. Ah, no, it's just the hockey buzz rumor. Never mind. Not a lot of clout to those. But if you're getting back someone like Dougie Hamilton, then I think you do it. I love Dougie
Absolutely,
Hamilton.
yeah. Dougie's a beast. You're a huge Dougie fan.
I freaking love
He's
Dougie
the
Hamilton,
DH.
dude.
He's the
The
DH.
DH, bro.
DH. He fits so well.
And then oh my gosh, I'd salivate at thinking about a defense core of Ivan Provorov, Shane Gostisbehere, Dougie Hamilton, Travis Sanheim, and Philippe Myers. And then you think, okay, Andrew McDonald, whatever, he's your sixth defenseman. Gudis is dead to all of us. Morin then is be like, if you can add him as your sixth defenseman, dude, your average height on defense is like 17 feet tall. Like it doesn't matter. Like you've got 4 defensemen that are freaking massive.
But who can all skate and move the puck?
That's oh my gosh! I need it.
Not just a Chris Pronger who's a huge presence but can't shoot, can't pass, and can't skate.
Right. So, yeah.
I have beef with Chris Pronger.
So let's talk about real quick because I'm reading this on hockeybuzz.com. So there's not a lot. This is freaking Eklund rumors. Flyers and Oilers discuss a Flyers D and ... So he says, and this is just from Eklund. If there's not a source to it, it's probably not that reliable as far as like actually happening. He says, hearing Sanheim and Nugent Hopkins names being mentioned as part of this, I was told a draft pick may not anymore be involved, so they may be able to wait until after tonight.
Say that again, Sanheim. So essentially Sanheim for Nuge.
And Ryan Nugent Hopkins. See, here's the thing.
That's a slippery slope.
I love Sanheim. And listen, I will be the first to say that you can trade unproven commodities because they are what they are, which is an unproven commodity. However, the Flyers have done that a lot in their history.
So let's take an example. Okay, Patrick Sharp.
That was the one example I was going to bring up is you trade someone like that. I mean, you don't even, okay, here's the thing. You trade him to the Oilers, you don't know what you're going to be missing because he's going to flounder there because their organization is a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
So you just don't know. But like, so let me look up Nuge's stats real quick.
I mean, we get rid of P. Sharp. He went right to the Blackhawks, correct?
Yeah, he freaking dominated.
And you want to talk about, and I might catch blast for this, but for a while, you're putting him in top 10 goal scorers.
Yeah.
We're not talking about Dallas Stars Patrick Sharp. We're talking about like early 2000s Patrick Sharp backing up Patty Kane or JT.
Yeah. And so this is something where it's like and
it's kind of tough to get the feel with a defenseman as well because
but Sanheim is just like he's the best skating defenseman we have. He moves the puck so well. Like you have to see what you have in Sanheim.
It's too early.
It's very, very rare that you have a defenseman of his size, his skating ability, his passing ability, his shot, and his all-around and defensive play.
Well, how much does Nugent Hopkins make? It's got to be up there. He's probably
Nugent
around 6 or
Hopkins
7.
is currently. I'm on the wrong website for this.
Get your facts.
Gosh, dude, he was a first overall pick.
I know.
It's hard to believe. Man, the Oilers, they had 3 first overall picks in a row.
Yeah,
3 years
and
straight.
just haven't really.
And oh, gosh, man. What a shame for McDavid. Can you imagine him on like any other team, basically? So Nuge is making $6 million a year.
Yeah, I was gonna say 6 or 7.
Listen, I mean, he's 25 years old. He's a gosh, dude.
He's a right-hand shot. Yep.
He shoots left.
He's a lefty?
He's a lefty. He plays center. He can play on the wing. I just think you know what you're getting in Nugent Hopkins. Like, and for the Oilers, he's been
mediocre, 20 goals. He's been
if that, dude. Like he's
I'm talking.
The thing is, he's not even like a workhorse. Like he's not to say that he's often injured, but like he's played a full season one time. He only played 62 games last year. Now, granted, he scored 48 points last year in 62 games. And he scores goals. He's more of a goal scorer than a playmaker.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
I think again, he finds
hate it. Like I wouldn't hate it, but I also don't think that Nugent Hopkins is like
gonna bring us anything crazy.
Whereas Sanheim, when you look at the like you know what you're getting in Nugent Hopkins.
How old is Nuge? He's like 25, right?
So you know what you're getting in Nugent Hopkins. You don't know what you have in Sanheim. All you know about Sanheim is that when he played with Andrew McDonald last year, he was the only one who was able to bring up McDonald's underlying numbers. He was the only defenseman who had to play with McDonald that was able to raise up all of his advanced statistics. So
absolutely.
To me, I say you don't know what you got in Sanheim. Don't trade him.
No, because
don't trade him. Don't do it. But at the end of the day, like it's a hockey buzz rumor, so like I don't know how much stock to put into it. So, and that's where I'll be like, because
I look at Nuge and like kind of like a David Perron. Like he's not. It's right. He's a good asset to the team. He's not going to make your team stand out. And
right. Yeah.
I mean, granted, and like I do think Nuge has good hockey skills. I think he's got good brains on the ice.
He does, yeah. And he could probably do a little bit better being away from the Oilers.
Oh my god, yeah.
But until I see like Darren Drager or let's say like Pierre LeBrun or Bob McKenzie, like if any of them come out and say something like this, then I'll take it a bit more seriously. But until that point, like I don't see Hextall trading away Sanheim.
No, neither do I.
Nugent Hopkins. I think that it doesn't make any sense. So I would like to see them maybe make a move if it brings you back, Dougie Hamilton, Jeff Skinner, maybe. If it involves Simmons going out, then okay. Like it depends on the return again. It all depends on the return. But I think that we're gearing up for a very exciting night just due to the fact that Montreal they're like at pick number 3 is like tonight hinges on that. So
yeah, they're the creator.
It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. But I'm excited for it. So, you got anything else for us?
Go Patriots.
God,
that's all I gotta say. Tom Brady's the best quarterback of all time.
Dude, shut your mouth.
That's fine. How many rings you got?
Shut your mouth.
How many rings do you got? Dude. You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
We got one, and it's the most recent one, so you shut up.
That's fine. I had the most recent of almost every other year.
Stop every other year. Oh my gosh. Let's stick to hockey. All right. So listen, I think that's all the time we got for tonight. Thank you for tuning in, all 5 billion viewers.
Oh man, dude, we started out at 2 million right away.
5 billion, bro. So listen,
we beasts.
We're
and if you guys were wondering, I still have. I believe I told you almost an hour ago that I had 2.5 hours left, and my GPS 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Dude, are you on 95?
I'm currently on 695 right now.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah. So if you picked up anything out of this talk today, is to not travel from Virginia to New Jersey on a Friday.
Yeah, terrible idea.
At 11 o'clock.
My gosh. All right. Well, so that's all the time we got. So if you want to, you can hit us up on Instagram. We are at Broad Street Hooligan. Don't spell
Good.
street, just the ST.
ST.
Hit us up on Twitter, which is at BS Hooligans, I think. And then we also have a SoundCloud account. Just search Broad Street Hooligans. And thank
It'll
you
be
for
on
listening.
Instagram, Facebook, absolutely.
Tell all your friends. Yeah, we'll have this on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, the whole nine. You know, we're just freaking, you know what, we're getting into this game and we're just gonna see what happens. It's gonna be a fun time. And so yeah, I guess that's it. Enjoy the draft night. And we may do like a little post-draft reaction thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, just a quick segment.
Yeah, we may do it. It depends on how late the draft runs tonight. I don't know if we'll do it tonight, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow during the day at some point.
Yeah.
And then if you guys want to anybody who has our contact information or our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, if you follow us, if you want to chime in, if you watch the draft.
Listen, that's the thing. We do want to get people involved. So
call in.
We want to answer questions. We want to, if you want to join us on the show, like we're game for that, as long as you're not an idiot.
Yeah, as long as you can talk hockey sense.
Ask us questions, because that's cool. We want to be asked questions. We want to know what you guys are thinking. And we'll discuss stuff. And listen, at the end of the day, we're not experts, right? We're fans of the Flyers. We love them. We want to talk about them. And we strictly talk in opinion-based facts. So, like, that's the best way I can describe
Literally,
it.
like, our opinions are straight up facts.
Our opinions are facts. And so are yours, and so are everyone else's. So, listen, we're not experts, but we're just going to talk Flyers, and we're going to talk about things that we like to see.
Not only Flyers, we're going to talk about, and
we'll do around the league stuff.
We were teasing with the idea of actually, and you guys, for you 3 billion that are listening, you guys should oh man, we're killing it. It's more than some Twitch streamers out there.
Oh, jeez.
No, for some of you guys that are listening, actually, we are actually toying with the idea of maybe taking kind of like a halfway during the show intermission, basically, and just talk about something completely random, like how they make these street safety cones, you know, because I've been staring at them because $6.95 is apparently just under construction. So we could talk about stuff like that, or how bald eagles get their wings and how big their wingspans are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or how tadpoles become into frogs, whatever you guys really want to get into.
I love it.
But yeah, absolutely. You guys need to hit us up. Hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, even SoundCloud. If you have our personal numbers, and we're welcome to shoot us a text. We'll get you guys in on a talk.
Absolutely.
And apparently we are talking in a fake accent now.
Absolutely.
I guess that's
it. We out. So appreciate it, everybody, and have a wonderful draft evening. Let's go Flyers.